Hey everyone, my name is Avery. That's all you're going to figure out right now. And due to scheduling issues, i.e., Donald being a grown ass man, I will be taking over the podcast, I guess. Uh, so strap in because it's going to be an awkward time. I'm sitting here with my co host.
Don MF Ross. Today we're here to talk about where we're the two best members of Press X to Start podcast.
Press X to Start is a weekly show where we talk about the latest gaming news, reviews, and the biggest games, and give you our thoughts on the games we're playing. Our goal is to expand the video game media landscape through an underserved point of view. On YouTube, get our gaming news breakouts on Tuesday, what we've been playing on Thursday, and the whole thing is a podcast on Fridays. If you're watching on YouTube, you can support us by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell. If you're listening, we would appreciate you leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or the podcast service you are tuned in on. If you want to join in on the conversation, you can join our Discord at pressx2start.com/Discord! So yeah, that's pretty much the nitty gritty of the preamble that DJ has laid out for me. So we're going to jump straight into gaming news. Our first story is from VGC. This is from Andy Robinson. Remedy confirms Control 2 is in development for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. So Remedy, the developers behind the Max Payne franchise and the underplayed Quantum Break and the cult hit Alan Wake, have announced a while ago that they're a small Danish studio, and they're working on like 5 games. And one of them was a Control multiplayer spinoff. One of them is an Alan Wake game. Another one was the single player for that Crossfire game that's on Xbox. I don't know if that ever came out because unfortunately none of us who are on the show on the podcast on a regular basis have any real insight into the nitty gritty of the Xbox ecosystem, and that was always a weird decision to begin with that I've heard no fanfare for. That could be because we're not in the know. But long story short, we all assumed that they were making Control 2, but now they just come out and confirmed they're making a sequel to Control 2. Sequel to Control called Control 2.
Did you platinum the first one?
Yes.
There's so much to do in that game.
Control is one of those AA games that hits like a AAA game, and I love it. Yeah. I just love it. Like I'm a fan of Remedy. I've played all of their modern games except for the Max Payne ones. And I think they are such an underdeserved developer who, frankly, with the amount of shit they're working on, I want someone to just buy them.
But who would buy them at this point? Who would we be comfortable with buying them at this point?
Well, that's the issue. I'm not comfortable with anyone buying them, but they're a team that deserves like the backing, the funding to just make AAA games and without having to compromise and spread their resources out too long or build up so that if my thing is they're making 5 games, Control 2 is one of them, but like I don't know how big that studio is to be able to put like 100% into all of those games and get them to like the level of quality that I think they should be.
It says they got about 290 employees.
That's pretty sizable, but like that's without knowing the breakdown of what all those employees do, I can't give you any good knowledge of anything.
I have never played any of the Max Payne games.
The only Max Payne game I played is Max Payne 3, which was not made by Remedy.
Okay. And I'm interested in Alan Wake, but I don't feel like spending money on it.
I'm biased because Alan Wake is one of those horror. I don't like horror games, but I fucking fuck with Alan Wake as one of those games that like it was just so dynamically interesting as a like single player action adventure game that like the fact that it was a horror game just didn't bother me.
Yeah, I see it was only on 360 and Windows, the originals, and I didn't have a gaming PC and I wasn't interested in playing it, I guess, back then.
Shout out to my old video game crew. They know who they are. Audie, Jeff, Colin. The goats when it comes to just getting a group of guys together in a room and watching one of them play video games. And then rage quitting because you're tired of them backseat driving you during LA Noire. And when I say backseat driving, I mean actually driving the car in that game. That game ruined the group.
I mean, the driving was terrible.
Exactly. That was my thing. Like we were playing it, it was fun. Then I was driving, and I was driving poorly because 1, I'm not the best driver, and B, it's just like the driving in that game is just not good. and they just like they were just getting on me. I said, "Fuck it, you guys drive the game." And then we stopped playing the game, and then we stopped hanging out after that. We're all still friends.
That's unfortunate. Anywho,
Yeah. So our next story is there was a Hogwarts Legacy gameplay showcase. This is from Chris Gullion from VGC. A Hogwarts Legacy gameplay showcase will take place. Yeah, the showcase happened, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm already in a weird place with this game, as in it's a game I want to play, but it's a game that I'm not comfortable with promoting and supporting in any way, shape, or form because of its creator, J.K. Rowling. So I didn't watch this showcase. That being said, both Marcus and DJ were in our individual chat Slack, like hyped the shit about the game's character creator.
it looked pretty good. People need to make more of a fuss about having good character creators, at least in social media, to see that. Let the studios know that this is something that we want. If you're gonna have a,
I'm also of the mindset, and I've fought this fight many times in this podcast and lost, that like character creators are the most uninteresting thing in video games to me, and I would just prefer a game to just
give you a fully fleshed out character.
Give me a fully fleshed out character who is designed and doesn't look like random elements put together on like a Mr. Potato Head, and also be a stronger case for representation going forward. If instead of me as a black person having to make my creative character a black character, I'm more interested in this character is black and there's narrative framework around this race and why the choices were made.
How many character creators can you think of that actually like voice the person that you made?
All of the BioWare Mass Effect games, all of Dragon Age Inquisition is one of them as well.
Because typically you just make the person, and that's just
Because the idea is we want you to inhabit it, but like I think it's 2021. Well, no, it's 2022 right now. It's going to be 2023 in like a couple of months. We've evolved beyond reading on the screen.
This is very, very early. I don't know if you played Tony Hawk series at all.
I played every Tony Hawk up until I want to say Thug 1. And then
that's exactly where I was going with it though, because you put your face in the game and it was voiced. Granted, didn't sound that great, or it didn't quite mesh well, but it was very ambitious for the time. That was a PS2.
Yeah, Sean, you watched the showcase. Was there anything else notable to take away out of it beyond it was a showcase?
I think we know all we're gonna know, at least until the game actually comes out. So you're either interested or you're not. And I'll see what's coming up around the time of this game coming out to see if I even want to touch it. Character creators aren't that big a deal to me. It's nice to see, but I never make anybody interesting looking on there, so it is what it is.
No. I tried to make a thirst trap, and then after I get annoyed by the game, I'm just like, whatever. I think it depends. It depends on if the game has romance options. If the game has romance options, I will play as a male character because I want to romance female characters. Because for the most part, outside of Mass Effect 2, I've never really cared about the romance options for women. But if it's there are no romance options, and I'm just playing as a character, I'm not role playing as me. I'm creating a thirst trap, and I'm trying to make the coolest thirst trap I can figure out.
Okay. Next story, please.
Okay. I don't know why I got weird. What? I can't talk about thirst traps. Y'all be saying the most off the wall, insane shit, but I bring up thirst traps, and suddenly we gotta move on.
I have never said anything off the wall on this podcast. Please.
Okay. Keep those in the annals of the edited segments of this podcast. Okay, our next story is from Tom Ivan. This is also from VGC. Twitter's page verification leads to fake accounts for game companies involving Nintendo and Valve. So this is this is actually a bigger story in the realm of just social media in general. Shout out to Elon Musk, the GOAT, for buying Twitter and just ruining it day one. The man spent he spent half the amount of money that Xbox is quote unquote spending for nearly half the amount of money Xbox is spending for Activision Blizzard, and has probably cratered the value of that company immediately. So the big thing that he was talking about was Twitter Blue, which was everyone who's a micro celebrity fights for a blue check mark. Because the minute you get a blue check mark, that's when people start noticing you. And like, if I tweet at Shay XQC, I'm just a random face in the gray face in the void to him. So like, that's not gonna matter. But if I tweet to him with a blue check mark, he at least will, for the most part, quote unquote, do the due diligence, say, oh, who is this person? So everyone wants this blue check mark. And Twitter's previous, I believe, policies was, we're going to verify who you are and look up a bunch of data so that we are aware that if, let's say, Nolan underscore North is the actual Nolan North, or just a guy with a Nolan North Facebook profile picture and calling himself Nolan North.
They had a dedicated team to doing that, and he fired them immediately.
Yeah. So his big innovation is that he's going to allow people to pay for a check mark. People immediately notice that, like, especially people in the gaming industry, dude, that's going to fuck up everything. Because it's just going to allow people to troll. And he's like, no, it's not. And immediately, that's what people did. People spent the $8 get the blue check mark and immediately started creating accounts that are parodying and impersonating public figures, companies, charities, people.
I saw somebody say, make an account with a bank name and throw up a fake website to just capture info. Like,
well,
I don't know what this man was thinking.
One of the big things that happened, and we'll get to the gaming stuff because this is actually a more interesting topic. But like, one of the big things that happened, like companies, like the company that owns the patent for insulin, someone created a fake account based on their company and say, "Hey, man, we're giving away insulin for free now," and their stock cratered. And the best part about it is that afterwards, there had people sort of realized the scam that Big Pharma is when it comes to like most medical discoveries, and like now they're dealing with the whole, I don't think we can go back to selling it for $100 now because the market is aware that we're fucking them. But yeah, in
good job, Elon.
Yeah, fucking fantastic job. Holy shit. I cannot believe there was a period of time where people thought you were a cool dude. Like, there used to be a period of time when he was like, hey, man, I released a fucking flamethrower. I made Tesla. And everyone was like, oh, man, Elon Musk is really cool. But then you're like, nah, he's just a rich billionaire
he's just a guy
who's an idiot. But long story short, so people have created fake profile images of both Nintendo and Valve. And the Nintendo guy put up an image of Mario, putting up the middle finger, and now, like, that's not great for, which is probably the number one search thing for Nintendo at the time on Twitter. I believe the Valve one, it was like, the Valve one was like announcing this like new service called like Neon Prime or some bullshit.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, that's not a thing. Someone created a Twitch parody account and said, hey man, we're changing the revenue splits. And Twitch ambassadors get 80-20, partners 70-30, affiliates 60-40, and non-affiliates 50-50. So, like, Twitter's dead. Like, there was a couple weeks, a couple of days when I thought, okay, this won't be that bad.
But a couple people said that he can't fuck it up any worse than it is.
Because it's not like Twitter was the best service before he bought them. But after this, it's very clear that it's operating.
It was teetering on the fence to begin with.
Yeah, it's a house of cards, and he just teetered it off. So for the most part, Twitter as a social media platform is going to fall apart. As an advertiser-friendly platform, it's probably going to crater, because that's another thing that in this entire Elon thing is that advertisers started pulling back because they weren't sure what the effects were for this Twitter thing. And then Elon proved to be an unstable person who now allow people to create fake ads for brands and companies that are ruining their financial bottoms. So Twitter is now probably losing even more money on top of the money they were already losing in this deal to begin with because of Elon.
I think maybe like YouTube and Instagram and Snapchat will survive, but Facebook and Twitter are dying.
Facebook should be fine because of its sheer size. And as much as
he's killing it. Apparently, he's lost a good 700 million or 900 million. Or
they've lost a lot because of VR and the metaverse and all things like that. But Facebook as an actual website and brand, that is actually doing fine. It's the amount of people on it. It's like the amount of people that would have to leave it to be to make a dent in its financials is really small. It's one of those things why Mark Zuckerberg is sort of untouchable when it comes to Facebook, is that like the amount of money they make in just sheer ad revenue because the amount of traffic and visual people on it is just insane. While like Twitter is like they started losing people and immediately Elon had to start crying on Twitter about fake and creating a fake, blaming fake activists for ruining his website.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on from rich people problems.
Cool. So this is the part where DJ does subscriber plug. So this is me doing my best interpretation of the subscriber plug. I'm just going to read what he said verbatim because I don't feel like doing anything cool for this. Before we talk about insert the item here, if you are watching us and have been enjoying this video so far, please like the video, hit the subscribe button, and especially hit the notification bell so you may stay up to date on our future videos. Your support keeps us going, and hitting the bell will keep you updated on our latest videos. Thank you.
It sounds like a hostage reading the note.
Yes. Okay. So in other news of companies just royally fucking up, we're still on BGC. This is Chris Gullion. FIFA's first post-EA games will be blockchain titles. So I want to preempt this at everyone keeps calling EA the worst company in the world. And I've always consistently said, y'all are some indoor kids who don't understand the realities of the world.
They haven't been the worst in quite some time.
They haven't been the worst ever. Like, that's my point. Is that, like, in the video game sphere, Activision Blizzard was probably worse than them, but Call of Duty is so popular that no one talked about it. And EA was just tripping over rakes in a yard publicly, which is why everyone was like, they're the worst. But yeah. But I'm preempting this to talk about the fact that months ago, FIFA and EA's deal ended. And EA is going forward with their FGC football club, FCG football club game, which is just going to be FIFA without the FIFA name, because that's all that. And FIFA to fill the market for a FIFA game, has decided to partner with a bunch of crypto blockchain games, which is ironic because this is in around the same time that the biggest crypto company, exchange company in the world, FTX, has fallen apart because everyone realized it was a Ponzi scheme.
My man funneled his money out to another country and dipped the fuck out. This is why you don't leave all your crypto on a centralized platform. Keep it offline, cold storage, y'all.
If
you're going to get into it.
But yeah. I would say that until you get to those situations where I've lost my crypto because I've kept it in a non verified like an insured place, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I think all crypto is garbage, but from all the research I've done, Coinbase seems to be the best version of all these crypto exchange places in regards to crypto and all that. I still think crypto and all that is bullshit, whatever. But like, if you're investing in crypto and don't have the infrastructure to keep like your own heavily reinforced, updated server space to hold your imaginary money, I guess you could use Coinbase.
Coinbase is shitty too, because
I know.
If they're curious, like if they're suspicious of how you got the money or how much you got this money, they'll hold on to your shit. But like I said, cold storage. If you know, you know.
But yeah, so FIFA's post-EA games will be blockchain titles. This is, so I'm going to read an expert. According to a press release by FIFA, gaming and esports are some of the fastest growing opportunities for FIFA as it continues to expand into new digital spaces. Platforms and games are already welcoming football fans on them. It adds new gaming integrations, all of which are designed with the Web 3.0 and the future of digital entertainment in mind, are playable around the tournament, and each have a unique twist on the biggest football tournament. So the first game is AI League, the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 edition, developed by Altered State Machine, which is a 4-on-4 casual football game played between AI-controlled characters with player input at fun and tactical moments.
Did they make a fucking QTE soccer game?
Yeah, they pretty much made Teamfight Tactics. They pretty much made Teamfight Tactics, but for football.
All right, man.
Yeah, and they're trying to do FIFA Ultimate Team in, that's where the blockchain stuff's coming. They want Ultimate Team to be a thing that people they want to make Ultimate Team an NFT. And so, like, if you open a card pack and get Messi, that's a Messi NFT that you can quote unquote take to all of their FIFA products, but are useless around FIFA. Their second is a FIFA World Cup Qatar 22 in the Upland Metaverse, which is a collaboration with Upland ME. Upland is a blockchain-based metaverse where players buy and sell virtual properties. Okay, that doesn't sound like a game. And their third is the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 on Phygtl. I pronounced that wrong, but it's PHYGTL. Is a collaboration with fan engagement mobile application, that same name. So yeah,
man, this is. So I wonder if EA is going to be able to still use the football team's names and players, but just not the FIFA name. Because I know, like,
I'm pretty sure they lose the FIFA name, but they can make individual contracts with players and teams to get all of them in there outside of FIFA. So they're perfectly fine. I think the only thing
more likely is just more paperwork now.
Yeah, it's more paperwork, but it's maybe more paperwork and less money that they have to shell out individually in the company, because they're no longer paying this massive brand. They're paying still just paying the costs and stuff.
Yeah, because is it the NBA or the NFL Player Association where they have to go through them? I don't remember at the moment, but this is quite different from the normal FIFA contract stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't play FIFA. That's a damn scam as well.
Okay. Let's see. Our next story is we're gonna keep our final two stories are gonna be relatively Sony related, and we're gonna wrap this up. Keep this light. Our next story is from BDC. This is from Tom Ivan. Sony has partnered reportedly with NCSoft to make a Horizon MMORPG. The game is said to be in development at the South Korean company behind Lineage and Guild Wars. I love Horizon Zero Dawn. It's one of my favorite PlayStation franchises. I feel like PlayStation is milking this goat really quickly and really fast. That being said, MMORPGs aren't my bad because I don't have the tail end. I don't have the bandwidth to just live in these worlds to truly enjoy them. But it all depends on what the gameplay of this game is. Because if it is a standard point and click, this game's going to be on PlayStation, so it probably can't be that, but on Sony as on consoles. But if this is a point and click turn meters kind of like wait and turn and burn kind of an MMO, I'm not interested. But if this is just Horizon in a pseudo Destiny universe, I'm kind of down. But there's also the question of what is happening to the Horizon Zero Dawn
main franchise.
Well, main franchise, we know what's going to that. But they also announced in like a while ago when we were talking about the remake, there was going to be a multiplayer Horizon game. So is the multiplayer Horizon game working in tandem with this MMORPG? Because if that is true, that seems a really cool idea that I'm super excited about. Or if they're two separate products, and if they are that's a weird kind of a thing to both market at the same time. I get it, you get different audience with them.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you're like, for me as a Horizon fan, you're really pulling the bandwidth of like how much interest I can have in this franchise.
What would you do in an MMO for Horizon though? Like, what kind of classes would you have? What? I don't think it would be turn based, but
well, I think MMOs at this point are trying to break out of the mold of just having a class base. So this would probably be more like loadout based and like skill trees based on the individual items and equipment. And Horizon Zero Dawn already has a plethora of really interesting and cool weapons and tools that you can probably work for. They've also built a really interesting, and especially with Forbidden West, a really interesting, diverse, and big world with factions and individual people you can interact with. And then they double down on creating some of the coolest enemies in video games with Forbidden West. So, like, all the recipe to make a cool world for an MMO are there. The question is the RPG.
What are they going to give you to do, basically? I guess we got to see it to believe it. I'm not gonna pass judgment until I see something.
Yeah,
Something
same as well.
substance.
These are the teams behind Lineage and Guild Wars, and as far as I can tell, both of those games are like super popular. So it's not like the team can't make a solid game. It's all going to come to the execution and how Sony markets this. Because another thing, because the MMO space is like, WoW is no longer king, but it's still pretty high, and everyone is really fighting for third place after Final Fantasy 14 sort of like blew up. So it's like,
shit, I think even 11 still has a large player base.
Yeah, it's not a saturated market, but it's one where it's like really hard to really turn that key and to make this an ongoing popular revenue stream that everyone talks about. And like, there's going to be a Riot MMO either next year or 2024, and that's you're competing with Riot's ability to build a massive game. And as someone who's spent a lot of time in their ecosystem over the last year and a half, it's like, do you really want to compete with Riot on an MMO if that MMO comes out the same quality as Valorant, as hell Arcane, as any of the other pieces of content they put out? It's a risky move. Right. Which is why I think the Monster Hunter game that we really thought was going to, that was already hinted at, was a much more interesting prospect, because like no one's competing with Monster Hunter. Like there are a bunch of Monster Hunter lights,
yeah,
but like no one's competing with Monster Hunter.
We'll see how this new thingamabobber does.
Yeah, and then
I was gonna say I'm surprised. World of Warcraft has a rough daily player count of about 1.1 million, and Final Fantasy has about 2 million.
There's also the point that World of Warcraft is like divided into two games at this point.
Oh yeah,
there's the actual World of Warcraft, and then there's Classic, which is like, I think Classic was the dumbest idea in the entire world, because it's just, hey, we're just re-releasing the old game, but we have to keep updating it with all the old content. So eventually, the old game that you all hate, the old games you all loved, is going to become the new game that you all hate to play.
Hey man, somebody sat down at a boardroom, and everybody thought it was an amazing idea, and they launched it, and people signed into play.
Yeah. Okay, and our final story is from Andy Robinson. This is also from VGC. This was a very VGC week in terms of news. I'm just going to come out and say, they're in a world where I don't have Nibel anymore. VGC has been the best website for me to go to look up news and have it well-sourced and well-researched and things like that. So shout out to them and their team. Everyone should go read the articles that I'm mentioning in full detail and breadth, because I do a lot of paraphrasing and things when I bring the stories up as topics, and I think their work deserves to be at least get the click if that matters. So yeah, Final Fantasy 16 is a PS5 exclusive for 6 months, Sony marketing claimed. The upcoming sequel could be ported to PC after its exclusivity window expires. So Sony's relationship with Square Enix is fucking weird. In that, in my head, they're like pretty much every big Square game is PlayStation exclusive. Like, if Square knows that, like, if it's going to be a hit just on brand alone, it's an exclusive. And so we live in a world where Final Fantasy VII Remake has been out for going on 2 years now.
Yeah.
And it's not showing up on Xbox. I was super surprised by that. I think the prevailing rumor is that whatever marketing deal Sony has with Square is that they have to wait till the entire Remake franchise has come out before the exclusivity window ends. Which is like, okay, so Xbox fans won't see that game for Rebirth comes out next year, probably in winter of next year. So that's another 2 years after that. So 2025, 2026 is maybe when you see the third part. And then you're going to still have to wait another year after that.
So the next Xbox, whatever they call it, will get Final Fantasy VII Remake, maybe.
Maybe we'll get to that, because I'm still very bullish on my claim that Square Enix as a company is going to be bought by a major party going forward. I think that the Square Sony thing is still a thing that's going to happen. I think that Sony, from a business standpoint, is like, we're fighting passively with this Xbox deal, so let's not buy a major company
again right now.
do we have the capital to do it, and B, let's not buy a major publisher right now.
Oof.
But long story, but yeah, all the games are pretty much exclusive, and it was clarified because of Sony marketing that the window for 16 is only 6 months, and then it was further clarified after the fact that this window is only for console. So the game is going to show up in 6 months on PC.
Yeah.
And then a year later for Xbox. That's if Square is still an independent company going forward.
This affects us not one way or the other. I think we're both going to get this day one on PS5 regardless.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that was Press X to Start. I forgot what episode this is, but this was an episode of our podcast. I think it actually might be season 6, episode 44, I believe. Yeah, I think it's episode 44. Yeah, this has been a two-hander episode where I did a lot of talking, but I'm also in the middle of trying to make sure the podcast doesn't burn the fuck down right now. And it looks like I am more than equipped to do all this shit. So, DJ, you might be out of a job. JK, you definitely need to come back and do this because I've still not figured out a lot of this and how to do it. So, please come back. And please don't come back French.
Baby, come back. Marcus, do the thing.
All right, everyone. Deuces.